I have a business in Dearborn, and I've been very active in Dearborn, following what the administration doing for the last 20 years. There is not even one budget in Dearborn which they started since Guido 1996 until today, which didn't run double the price which they passed it on to the residents. I do not trust Dearborn. I'm going to give you a simple example. In 1999, I stood in front of the City Council of Dearborn after I studied all the CSO project. The director of the DPW stated in front of the City Council that the CSO is going to cost at the most $80,000 to $100,000. I stood and I said, from studying and asking experts from New Jersey on this issue, the estimate was minimum $200 million. Today, ladies and gentlemen, Dearborn is over, I believe, $400 million. Do not let this administration put our neck, our residents, our senior citizens in the hands of Dearborn. Let's keep our employees, let's keep our equipment, and the saving of $240,000, which they claim they're going to save. It's not worth. One person who has a heart attack or need emergency service and they are delayed by 1 minute, that 1 minute can make life and death. I urge my friends on the City Council to please vote this down. I believe it's not in the benefit of our city. Thank you.
Again, all your comments are welcome here.
Hello, how you doing? I'm doing well. Thank you. Hi, my name is Sterling. I live in Dearborn Heights, South End. I've been there most of my life, on and off. 40 some odd years. I've seen the good and the bad, sometimes the ugly. I just got a quick question. I don't know if you can answer. Is there a contingency plan for when this doesn't work? Since they're reducing their staff, the overall staff, I'm guessing by at least half. You know, when somebody dies because they can't get there in time, because property is lost because they can't get there in time, is there any contingencies for when that happens?
All right, and you're right. I don't have that information. That information has not been provided to us. It certainly is an open question. So,
Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have anyone else that would like to come forward?
Hi, my name is Dawn Verdkowski. I've lived on the south side of Dearborn Heights for 15 years. You have to excuse me, I know I was a few minutes late. I don't know if this was covered. But my curiosity, when I walked in, I just heard you talk about the cost savings, per se, supposedly. My question is, okay, for how many citizens are in the city of Dearborn Heights versus this so-called cost savings? Divide it up. I'll pitch in. I mean, what is the overall cost savings per taxpayer? Can't be that big. And if it's not that big, I'm pretty sure if you ask all of us.
I'm sorry. $4. $4?
Okay. I'll give you 10.
All right. Do we have anyone else that would like to come up?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You know, we'll just start working around the room as you raise your hand. You know, I'll just kind of point. You know, appreciate everyone's patience in working through this. Very important to hear everyone this evening that wishes to speak.
Thank you very much. Thank you, first of all, for having this meeting. I've lived in Dearborn Heights my whole life. My parents have lived here most all of their life. And my parents are elderly. And I can tell you that we do have some of the best dispatchers, the best EMS, and the best police officers anywhere else. to think that we would lose that over a few dollars, whether it's $4 per person or however many dollars it might be, because that extra minute to get somebody to your house when your parents can't breathe or you can't breathe or having a heart attack or a stroke makes a difference. And to delegate this out to another city who actually gets a better deal on this than we do. We pay 20 some odd dollars per call where they make only $19 per call. And that means that our dispatchers, if there is already 20 dispatchers in Dearborn, and if you combine with 6 other cities, that means most of our people are probably not going to have a job.
Right.
Exactly.
And I don't know if any of you have ever called there, but they're fantastic. I've never had an issue. Never. I would just hate to think that our city would go down. I mean, I've lived here my whole life. I've never lived anywhere else, and I would hate to see that. And honestly, I think that shouldn't we all get to vote on this?
Yeah.
Not just city council. Nothing against city council, but it seems like we should get to vote on this.
Yeah.
You know, that's our money. We've never said no to anything. So I don't understand, you know, that I assume maybe somewhere in the future it could come to a vote for us so that we get to choose. That's our lives everybody's talking about, not the people in the city of Dearborn, not their lives. And I'm sure they have a great dispatch for them. But when you combine all those other calls, how many calls is that per year? That's a lot of calls they have to deal with. That, you know, if you're a dispatcher for the city of Dearborn, aren't you going to treat your city differently?
Yes. Yeah.
They're going to get the first choose. So, so just let us vote. That's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. To answer your question, I'm going to revisit this number, the screen that you saw with all the numbers and stuff. This is 911 calls, and of course more calls than that come into your dispatchers, by the way, because you know the non-emergency line of 277-6770. But this is just 911 calls. This is from the screen, the PowerPoint. For those 7 communities is 207,651. And that's based on a snapshot. I'm trying to get up on the times, okay, Snapchat. But snapshot of 1 year, okay? So that actually answers your question, but again, that's 911 calls. Okay, anyone else? Come on up.
Hi. Some of you know me. Most probably do not. I am Rhonda McElroy, South End resident. I was also a Dearborn Heights dispatcher from 1994 until 2013. I was one of the first dispatchers hired when the city changed over from the police cadet program into a civilian-based dispatch center. Through the years, we've had many, many changes affect our city as far as budgeting, personnel, administration. Through it all, the dispatchers that we have had through the years and have currently have always maintained their job professionalism and their commitment to the cities. I have some points that I wanted to bring up that have come through this. I understand that you may not get answers, we may not get answers. I would like to know, first off, from the council or in their study sessions, a few years ago, Dearborn Heights residents voted to approve the Headley Amendment override. And that guaranteed that our emergency services for the city would not change. Is this a violation of that Headley Amendment? Also, every municipality who has a 911 center gets 911 monies from the state. You see it on your phone bills as a 911 tax. You see it in your cell phone bills as a 911 tax. Where is that money going? Where has it gone the past 20 years? If by giving up your dispatch center to Dearborn, are you also giving up that 911 money? And is that being accounted into the city, into the Dearborn Heights win-loss column, for lack of a better term? The 800 megahertz system that Dearborn needs to improve on or become part of the 800 megahertz system, Dearborn Heights was compliant with that when the state mandated it several years ago. We went into a partnership with the city of Westland. The tower that we use is in the city of Westland. Dearborn Heights and Westland and other agencies share the cost. So there's no change in, there should not be a change in cost for that 800 megahertz system. Regarding the contract, what is the life of the proposed contract? And what happens if a municipality wants to opt out of the contract? Does that negate the contract? Does it renegotiate the fees that will be charged for the other agencies that still want to participate? And what happens at the end of the contract if City of Dearborn and the other agencies decide this is a failed program? Now you're starting all over again, rebuilding your local dispatch center, rehiring, buying all new equipment, going through all of the training costs again. And I think out of all my notes, that's enough for now. But these are items that I want you to think about, and hopefully, if this does come to a vote, it will come to the citizens.
Right.
Because we're the ones ultimately that are going to pay the bill. We're going to see the change in response times, because there will be a change in response times. And as far as staffing, if anyone wants to talk staffing and where the hiring is going to come from, we can do that at a later time as well. But thanks. I'm thankful that you have this forum for us.
Okay, thank you. Okay, do we have anyone else that would like to come up this evening?
Hi, my name is Larry Loftus, and I've lived in Dearborn Heights basically my entire life. When I got married, my wife and I said we're going to raise a family. And we had choices to make. Where are we going to live? What community we're going to be part of? And we decided to come back here and be a part of this community. And it's been a great decision. If I wanted to live in Dearborn, we would have. Or Westland, we would have. We didn't want those. We wanted Dearborn Heights. And I feel the same way about our dispatch center. I want people to answer the phone when there's an issue, a problem in our city, who know our city, who know what street is what, who know that this number on the same street is Dearborn or Dearborn Heights. So there's no argument about who's going to respond and how long it's going to take to get them there. I'm willing, as people have said earlier, to chip in the $4 and change for me and my wife and all of my children, and even for a couple of other people, to make sure that that safety and security is here in our city, not somewhere else. I did some quick math, look up some Google research to the number of communities and populations of those communities. We have 56,000 people roughly in Dearborn Heights. The new combined service center will have 312,000 people roughly. A workload that will be frankly astronomical, given that we have, they're gonna, go from 20 in Dearborn to 38 and have 4 to 5 times the workload. How long are we going to wait to get a call answered? When they do answer it, are they going to send it to the right place? Okay. Most people use cell phones anymore. Cell phones aren't set up with caller ID. They can't know what address a caller is calling from. So if we're on the border of one city or another, the cell phone tower in this city can pick it up. So, oh, you're in Westland. Nope, you're in Dearborn Heights. And there will be arguments over where people are, how they're going to get there. People have called, I know they've called and said, I'm in such and such a city, but they're really in this address. And the dispatcher doesn't know, I'm at Ford Road and Merriman. Well, I'm in Dearborn Heights, because they don't know they're in Dearborn Heights, but they think they're in Dearborn Heights. But Ford and Merriman isn't Dearborn Heights. How long do they got to wait for someone to figure that out? And if you have to take into consideration 7 different cities, no one will ever know them all. Our people in Dearborn Heights know them. I rely on them.